Right, if you're a regular viewer, you'll have seen me using this as my shooting board for all the years I've been doing YouTube. Well, I'm going to be making a new one today. I'm going to show you how I do it and give you the dimensions that I'm making mine to. And then I'll show you how I set it up to make it super accurate. So, stay with me. Just as my old shooting board was made up from scraps from the workshop, so is this new one. I've got some 8.5mm veneered chipboard, some 18mm chipboard, and a piece of reclaimed dark red Meranti, which is nice hardwood to use. Now I'm going to go and get these cut into the right sizes, and then I'll show you how I put them together and make it nice and accurate. I'm going to put up a picture of the finished board with all the dimensions, so if you want to pause the video and take those dimensions off the screen, you're perfectly welcome to. Okay, so I've been busy. I've prepared my sub base here. I've cut it to width and I've pre-drilled a lot of holes on there that you'll also have seen in the plan. I've also prepared the base. That's going to get attached onto the sub base. Now, because this is of chipboard, what I've decided to do is add, as you can see in the corner there, I've put a wear strip of beech, and I've done that on both edges, and that's going to make this thing last probably as long as I'm going to need it for. So that will be attached on there like so. I've prepared a fence for this end, and it will receive a bolt from underneath, which will be a pivot so we can adjust for 90 degrees. And I've prepared an adjustable block here for setting it, and that's just a small block that I've threaded, and it's taking a machine screw. It's quite a tight fit, but we'll be able to use that, and it's not going to fall out. That gets screwed in from underneath there, and then we'll be able to set the back of the fence and adjust that so it's a clean 90 degrees. And then at this end, to stop the thing moving around on the bench, I've got a cleat that's going to be screwed and glued underneath the back there. That can either get clamped into a vise or it can be held against the side of the bench. And that's basically a shooting board. You would use your plane, something bigger than this, to work along there. The workpiece sits on here and you can shoot the end of the workpiece nice and square. Now I'm trying something a little bit different. You may have noticed some holes down here. I've prepared a second fence to go at this end and another setting block to also go there. So I've sort of mirrored it at the other end. Right, so time for me to get the glue out. I'll glue this stop on here, and I shall also glue the base to the sub base. And as you can see, there are plenty of holes underneath there to attach it with some screws. Now to test the accuracy of my shooting board, I'm going to use this veneered MDF. Anything relatively thin, easy to plane is good. You want to shoot one edge until it's perfectly straight. So planing down the side, keep going, gradually moving the material across with the plane tight up against the side of the shooting board and resting flat on there. Keep going until you take a shaving the whole way through. Nearly there. That's given us a straight edge. Use that straight edge against the fence. I'll mark it as well, make sure we don't get lost. Now plane that with it tight against the fence again until you have no shaving all the way through. Like so. And you can test that with a tri-square. Now you can multiply the errors by going around clockwise, setting this face against the fence, shooting this edge, and keep going round, which is what I'm going to do. But if you only need relative accuracy, then you could just check your first corner. But I'm going to move this round once, shoot this edge, then move that round again. And shoot this final edge, bringing us back to the straight edge we created in the first place. Now the theory here is this first angle, let's say it wasn't quite 90, let's say it was 89. Then we'd be shooting this one at 89 and this one at 89. And because we've ended up with a four-sided figure, this last one would have to be 93 degrees to complete the rectangle. So if it's 93, then it will show us a bigger error than between 90 and 89. So we check there, we can see we've got an error, and it's the corner of the square which is free to float around. That's where the error is. So that means that angle in there is greater than 90. If it was, well, all these other ones have got to be more than 90 now, which means that it's the ends of the square which are free to move. Make sure you don't get any material caught up against the fence, because that will throw you out. and that's extremely close. Because we've got the screw adjuster, we can make very minute adjustments very easily on what would otherwise be a free floating fence. So it might not feel as if I've moved that at all, but I know because I've adjusted that screw that it's moving back very slightly. And that's perfect. In cases where you've got something a bit longer to shoot, it's a bit tippy on the shooting board, I've made with the offcuts this little extension to the bed which will support the material out to the left hand side, and it's just a breeze to set it up and shoot it. Perfect miters are never far away. And by angling a ramp the other way, you can put a mitre on a thin and wide piece of stock.